Alrighty guys, welcome back to the GSL Code A Round 2. We've got Keen versus YugiOh. YugiOh down here at the bottom right as our red Zerg, and at the top left we have Keen, our blue Terran, and he is keen on taking the second game here and closing out the series. We'll have to see what YugiOh's got planned for this map. This is Belshire Beach. It's our new snow version of Belshire Beach. I think it's a pretty cool remake, as you guys can see. For those of you who haven't watched in a while, there is a wider ramp here. Instead of the two ramps that there used to be a secondary ramp around this location, so it was really difficult for Terrans to defend against run-bys. Third base and second base were often exposed. Taking a third base was almost impossible because there were rocks at this location, and it was a gold base, so that was kind of like, if you could grab that, then you had an advantage, but if you couldn't, man, the Zerg was just going to tear you apart. So some cool changes on this map. It looks like Keen, maybe Keen, I'm putting a forward barracks out here, sending an SCV scout very quickly, and I think that's absolutely what he's going to do here. Where will he put it though? Not sending any of his other SCVs just yet, so he is absolutely going to proxy. Is he just going to proxy it behind the natural? Oh, he's going to eBay block. Well, that is quite interesting. I did not expect him to eBay block like this on this particular map. It is a two-player map though, the best kind of map to eBay block on. And he's actually going to go Command Center first back at home. Really interesting. His Command Center first is going to be a little bit late though against this. His Engineering Bay did not get as many hit points as he would have liked either, so not going to last as long as he wanted. But forces the spawning pool, the hatchery is going to be quite delayed. And in return, YugiOh actually could delay his command center with this drone. He sees no command center just yet. He's going to want to patrol his drone around here. Oh, huge mistake by YugiOh. Could have very easily delayed this command center for a long time. Engineering Bay getting down to about 250 hit points. He'll make 4 Zerglings and clean that up faster than, I don't know, faster than you can get food at Waffle House. I don't know. I was going to say a jiffy, but I just didn't feel right. Didn't feel right to say a jiffy. SCV taking the tower here with his last 5 hit points. The drone continuing to work on this eBay. It's down to 150. And actually just going to make 2 Zerglings to clean this up, since the drone's been able to do most of the work himself. Just having those 2 Zerglings makes a lot of sense. There's the cancel. Gets 94 of his minerals back. Engineering Base only cost 125 minerals, so a nice block technique by Keen. See, this drone's trying to pull off some harassment right now, but it's just not really effective. And to be honest, he could have very easily delayed this command center a lot better than he did. He just assumed, oh, he's going to, because no matter what, if the SCV gets followed and he can't make the command center. If he sees 2 SCVs, then okay, you know, don't follow the SCV, they're just going to attack you and then he's going to make the command center. In YugiOh right now. Either way, he's going to put a little bit more pressure on with these Zerglings, though, damaging that command center quite significantly with the drone. Today's the day for drones and Zerglings to work together in a group of 3 to damage Terran structures that are building. Factory on the way for Keen. Liking to follow up his command center first with that fast factory. Going to be making a reactor after this 3rd Marine as well, to do just the exact same build we saw him do last game. Of course, the only variation being that Engineering Bay block. YugiOh going to go ahead and take a fast 3rd, very similar to what we saw last game, and this is almost like a mirror game, minus the hatchery block. You know, everything that these 2 players have planned has been almost the same. 2nd barracks going down for Keen. There's the reactor on the barracks. Factory finishing up, making that bunker as usual. Talk about a repeat. And it looks like Keen actually going to sneak in here with this SCV.
SCV ready.
Not the best sneaker. Didn't really get to see too much. Saw some drones transferring. Do not believe he actually checked this base. No, he did not.
Add-on complete.
So that's unfortunate. He's not going to know about that. Not too important for him what the build he's doing, because these Hellions are going to find out if he controls them well. And as we saw last game, he's pretty good at doing that. Now, the common follow-up to this, for those of you guys who don't know this build, is to add a tech lab on your barracks. Whoa, hold that thought. Before I start talking about that stuff, let's watch Zerglings die to a bunker, and oops, did not raise the depot. Gonna lose a few SCVs here. Just 2, actually. Zerglings being chased away. Gonna get a 3rd one, perhaps. No. Does actually split his units, I like that. Does get a third one, just barely. Damaging a lot of these SCVs, which is going to be important for a later Mulus attack. But anyway, as I was trying to say, it's always important to get this tech lab immediately after the reactor is set, after you've done the switch, so you can get stim. If you don't get stim, the mutas come in, you can't deal with that. But his first priority threat to deal with is going to be this roach warren. When that finishes, a lot of roaches are going to come out. And we'll see how many roaches YugiOh wants to make. He's got 3 bases here. It's going to give him a little bit of extra production. He's also going to have a little bit better economy to do his roach aggression with. But we'll see if he wants to do a heavy timing attack or just a little bit of pressure. No defense whatsoever for these drones, though. Nice splitting, though, splitting them all into different directions. So even though he's going to take them all out, it's going to take him a little bit longer than he would have liked to. And actually may lose his Hellions here. Not the best control by Keen. Barely saving them there. Does take a lot of hits on those Hellions, however. 4 roaches on the way. Going to use those to help defend those Hellions. Making some extractors here to help defend those drones as well. He's going to want to cancel those. Hellions playing ring around the hatchery here. And look at this man. Losing a lot of Zerglings. But Keen is forced away with those roaches. And the question is, will YugiOh continue to pressure with the roaches or decide to stop roach production? Looks like he's already made his choice, making 6 more drones here. Smart, considering that Keen's scouted the roaches with those Hellions. He's already got a bunker up here, several more Marines, a full wall off as well. He's also got control of the towers, so nothing that YugiOh can throw at him right now will, he was not going to fall to any pressure. He's actually totally fine. Making a 3rd command center right now. Certain siege tank production as well, so a very similar game to the game we saw last game. A few variations. Keen sending his Hellions home, actually, relinquishing that Zelnaga watchtower, so roaches control the towers. I like this repairing the Hellions, something you don't see enough at high-level Starcraft 2. Might as well keep them alive, they're always going to be useful. Overseer being morphed here for YugiOh, wants to come in and see what's going on. Wants to see how many barracks have you made. Have you started, more siege tank production? What's going on? Have you started the 2nd factory? Where's your 3rd command center? Do you have these things? I want to know. So he's coming in here to see. Does get chased away by Marines. And in fact, does not see the command center, nor does he see additional barracks being added. Looks like the Hellions are tired of letting the roaches rule the day here. Nice micro pulling away the weakened Hellion. Now going to surround this roach. He's going to want to pull these Hellions away, though, because these Hellions cannot fight the roaches alone. Here we go. The main army coming to join up with these Hellions. Almost stopped the Zerg from seeing it, but YugiOh was on top of things. Even so, now that he's seen it, what can he do? He's saving resources for that Spire. His Baneling Nest just about to finish, but it's not done in time. It's looking really dire for YugiOh. He could just die here. At the very least, he's going to lose his hatchery. And how many drones? Oh my god, drones being taken out, as well as this hatchery. Things looking really bad for YugiOh. He tried to go for a run-by, but with the depots raised, was not very effective. Zerglings surrounding these Hellions, that's one good thing going for YugiOh. He's made a lot of Banelings. His Baneling speed is already on the way. All these Zerglings are going to die as they're born. Nice control by Keen. Tip for newer players: when your opponent's making things in larva, don't attack the larva directly, just be prepared to surround it so that when the units do hatch, you can kill them quite efficiently. Notice he only pulled a few Marines to deal with them as well, because he knew the siege tank splash was going to hit some of those Marines. So really smart by Keen. That's how he handled that. He's going to try to get his army home safely. There is a large group of Zerglings. He may want to siege up here because he knows, he knows. He's going to at least... Oh, look at this, targeting down the Banelings. And he is going to lose probably all of these Marines, but even so, he traded really efficiently with his armies, quite ahead as a result with everything that army was able to do. But has not yet been able to secure his 3rd base. He's got the 3rd base up and running, but not landed, not mining. He actually did not drop these mules either. It's a little bit disappointing. He's going to go ahead and take this base rather than taking this one. The reason why is because it's closer to his Zerg opponent. If you expand towards your Zerg opponent, it means that when your opponent tries to harass you, you can actually be out moving towards your opponent, attacking him, and come back easier to defend. few turrets on the way. This first Mutalist cloud is not going to do a whole lot. It's not really much of a cloud, it's more of a mist. Only being 6 mutas in this mist. Gaggle and mutas. Turrets already up here in the main base. Keen totally prepared. In fact, he may even catch some of these mutas with some marines. Oh, that one turret got delayed. Looks like YugiOh is going to go for a pretty aggressive attack here. I don't like this. It's going to be really easy for Keen to defend, and he knows that Keen has a lot of units. He just saw the majority of them with his mutas, so I'm not sure why he's going to decide to do this. The mutas may run into the main to distract the units of Keen, and that may be when he tries to come in with his banelings. The problem is there's just so many turrets here. Look at that. No! Can't go in there, Keen says. The no-fly zone. Restricted airspace. Banelings for YugiOh rolling around here. He's not sure what he wants to do. He's like, you know, I just can't make this work like I wanted to. Yeah, I forced a lot of turrets, but I want to attack him. He's got 4 turrets in his main. He's got a group of marines there as well. He didn't even stem them. What am I supposed to do? He's got plenty of units here. He's got siege tanks. He's got a safe third base. He even left his bunker up. Didn't even salvage that. How do I break him here? Finally decides, okay, I've got to take a 4th base. I can't attack him. It's just not going to work. I'd like to see him take this base as well. This is a smarter base to take in this case because his opponent is expanding towards him, and this base is just way too close, way too easy to harass. He's still considering going for this attack. He's going to try to pick off some siege tanks, but Keen, so well prepared. Right now, YugiOh coming into the main base, gets repelled immediately. Only a few marines stimming. And look at this, Keen going to chase some mutas, almost catching some. Things are getting tense here, but there's a whole lot of nothing really going on. Both players just kind of posturing here. It's like watching the Cold War unfold or something. And this medevac drop, not going to be very effective. Everything is totally prepared. Meanwhile, the mutas for YugiOh being chased back yet again by these units, and it looks like Keen is finally going to secure this watchtower. YugiOh is still down 30 supplies, making 5 infestors right now though. He just continues to want to use these mutas, but Keen will not give him any opportunity. Look at this, even double bunkers here to help defend against run-bys from the right side. I like that YugiOh is so map aware. Look at his overload placements here. Sees these units, does not however see this group of units, but with the bunker and the turrets and a few more marines back at home, I'm not sure if this is the best choice by YugiOh, losing a lot of units, not gaining a lot there. In total, workers killed. Keen up 6 in this regard, but not a lot of workers killed in total. He's going to assault this base now, and like I said, I think this base is the wrong base to take. Nice bungle on some of those marines. Looks like he is going to lose the majority of backkeeping marines, but there's so many more behind them. Just going to kill this hatchery and leave most likely. And that's exactly what he does. Banelings and Zerglings taken out by siege tanks. His Mutalists during all of this, not very useful. In fact, he lost several of them by the looks of it, since there's only 8 left and I cannot find them. May have flown some more marines that were left behind to defend, perhaps even this group here. He's got a few mutas left, but what is he really going to do with them? He's not able to deal with Keen's attacks. He lost this base. He's not going to re-expand there. That doesn't make sense. He wants to expand here now, which he should have done in the first place, but Keen is already keen to this, if you will. Moving forward with a ton of siege tanks. The creep spread, not very good at this side of the map. And Keen looking really good at this point. Stimming some marines. Going to clean up some creep. Actually going to go over here to the third base immediately with a very small group of marines. Stimming, going to take out this queen perhaps. Gets bungled. All those units going down. Transfuse on the hatchery to try to keep that alive. Nice defense so far from YugiOh, but he has no answer for these marines. And look at this, a second group coming out here. The Ultralisk Cavern is on the way. The Greater Spire is done, but he's already got Vikings on the way. He's already got Vikings in the mix. Not only is the Greater Spire done, but Wolf missed the 5 Broodlords are done. Will he be able to keep them alive? Actually, a really good engagement for YugiOh so far. Taking out that Thor. Taking out some siege tanks as well, but the Vikings remain. Does take off a Broodlord. Will he get a second one? Almost. The Muta's coming out though, and no support for these Vikings, so he's going to be very careful with those. +3 weapons almost done for these Marines. No armor just yet on the way for them. Look at this, just a tug of war battle here in the center. YugiOh just losing so many units, though his supply falling rapidly. He has no more support for these Broodlords. Just a few Infestors, but he doesn't want to get too close to those tanks. Brave Infestors do save the day, at least for now. Just barely pushing these siege tanks back. So Infested Terran's going down. Gets a Broodlord, gonna back up. But the key here is this base is now up, and this base is now up for YugiOh. The problem is the army for Keen still exists, still quite large. He's moving forward. 5 Ultras are on the way. He's trying to switch to deal with that Viking composition that's already out. But will they be out in time? It looks like the answer to that is no. Marines knocking on the doorstep now. There's just not enough fungals. He used too many Infested Terrans earlier. Marines running in here. The Infestors running for their lives. And this could be the end. Some Ultras out. The tanks are undefended. And they're actually going to be taken out very quickly by these 1-1 Ultralists. Nice lift up here, but the problem is he was fungled. Will he get these out? Oh! He drops this because he thought he was going to get fungled, but in reality that was not the case. So Overseer is taken out, and Keen actually down on supply right now. This 4th base very late considering how long he had map control, how long he was pressuring his opponent, but he's going to have a ton of scan energy to use on mules. As you can see, probably about to drop probably 6 to 8 mules right now on this location. Well, he's going to have to deal with this early harassment first. So Infestors coming out as well to help deal with these Marines that are probably going to be used. Will he catch some Marines with the Infestors? The answer for now is no. Drop going to go off over here on the bottom left. Some spines on the way, but not yet in time. I like how much YugiOh has been able to control these watchtowers during this game. Oh my goodness, so many drones going down, and with no mutas left, this drop play, so smart by Keen, in fact lifts everything up, gets out of there. When your opponent does not have mutas in this matchup, drop play is key. And always use those drops to harass your opponent and get away for free. 7 Infestors on the way, as well as Vengeful Sags for Overlord drops. I wonder what he could be planning. Some Infestors about to pop out here. This Infestor escapes, but the hatchery does not. Ultra's trying to come and rejoin here, defend this hatchery. And the drop continues over here on the bottom left as well. YugiOh going to lose both of these hatcheries. Did do a lot of harassment with these Infestors, however, during all of this. Man, YugiOh is really impressing with his multitasking and his ability to deal with these harassments, but I think Keen is just a little bit too much for him. And at certain points in this game, he's just been able to force YugiOh to run over there, then run over there. You know, his Ultras came back over here, the drop came, hit this hatchery as well. It didn't save this hatchery in time, and Keen, despite losing SCVs, still in a pretty good position here. 58 SCVs to 70 drones, but with 4 bases against just 2. With more bases being remade. I mean, look at this. He doesn't even have his 3rd base mining anymore. He's lost that so many times. There's plenty of minerals left here, about 600 to 800 per patch, despite the fact that this game's gone on this long. Nice fungals, though, getting a ton of Marines. But the Infestors look like they will fall, and YugiOh cannot afford to be losing these Infestors. His economy is very weak right now. I'd like to see Keen go ahead and push it at this point. He's about 40 supply up. Sending his Vikings here to perhaps do some harassment. Not sure if I agree with this, but he's going to be able to at least annoy YugiOh. That may give him the leverage that he needs to force some of these units back, allow him to take the watchtower, move down here and attack the 3rd base again. It looks like YugiOh's not going to fall for it. He's actually not even sending any units back to deal with these Vikings. Just 1 Ultra. That'll do the trick. And in fact, he can take out one of those Vikings. But yeah, during this, Keen has edged forward. He's moving towards this watchtower. And scans, takes out the Infestor. The Infested Terran's going down quite quickly. And just a few Vikings left in this mix is actually going to supply block YugiOh, and he may find himself a checkmate here very soon. Queen's being taken out here. This hatchery still not remade. Ultra's going to have to be avoided. But Keen, he is looking so solid right now. This is a real threat. This is not 2 Vikings. Heavily upgraded Marines up the 3-3. Going for the spawning pool, that Marauder adding in some extra DPS, but Keen does defend with some Banelings, but I don't think Keen cares, man. YugiOh, despite keeping his spawning pool alive, may not be able to keep this hatchery alive. Nice dodge on those funnels with the majority of his units. Keeps them alive here. Wants to engage these ultras, where the ultras on the other side of these trees, they have to run around. He's actually just going to target these down. Nice micro by Keen. Not looking good for this hatchery, as another force comes over to snipe this hatchery. Keen's multitasking is just too much for YugiOh, and I think he's going to have to tap out here pretty soon. Ghost upgrade on the way, Ghost on the way. 4 more Infestors, but there's nothing really for those Infestors to work with. He's got 7 Ultras, 3 Banelings, and 4 Zerglings. But, you know, if you have 7 Infestors out with just a few units like those, if there's good Marine split, if there's a good tank split, it's not going to matter. 1 Ultra falling down there, not able to accomplish a whole lot. Look at this, man. Keen up 70 supply. It's not looking good for YugiOh. I'll show you guys the income tab. Not good. And there is a nuke on the way. In fact, he may have even canceled that Ghost upgrade to get the nuke. Nope, did finish. Wants to finish things off with a bang here. Tank's starting to siege up the drone highway where they're actually getting all of the income YugiOh can spend right now, and that's not a lot. He's cutting off the last income. Looks like the Ultras are going for a final attack. Not bringing his drones with him. The Ultras melt like butter. Infestors coming down to die. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the end of YugiOh in his Code A run. GG. Keen has done it 2-0. See you next time, Slayers YugiOh. A good day for Keen. Speaking of YugiOh, YugiOh is on Slayers, and 2 of his teammates are going to be playing next. It's going to be Brown versus Ryung. Don't go anywhere. Remember, during all of this, we have another stream up. I believe Doa and Moletrap are casting there today, so go and greet them. And please take this time during this little break to follow me on Twitter at ProxyWolf, and also please follow GOMTV at GOMTV on Twitter, and make sure you check out their mobile site at m.gomtv.net, as well as going and looking at the predictions page. Make your predictions there so we can talk about them on air. See you guys in a few.